sent something in from my buddy Squirrel Chronicles.
Oh, you doing a video?
Yeah, hold on. I'll press pause so you can tell me. All right, y'all. Sorry. So my buddy Squirrel Chronicles sent this up. He's a probably a lot of y'all that watch my channel. He's in the comments a good bit. He's one of the guys that's been watching for a good little while. So you've seen him in the comments a good bit. So let's see what he sent me for us to do here. Looks like we got two HG transistors right here. They appear to be two 454s. I think he got these from me. But by the way, anybody watching, the old gatekeeper does sell transistors. All the HG transistors that we all use. Just shoot me a text if you're needing some. Alright, let's take a look at his letter here. So I've got the camera going off here because I don't want to get his personal information. So let me cover up his information right here with a box. Give me a second. Alright. Thanks again for doing this, bro. This amp has belonged to me for years. It was bought new, and the only other person to be in it was Alley Cat in Alabama. I think that's Alley Cat. I think that's Fat Cat, I believe. I think that's who he's talking about. Sorry, I got a piece of tape stuck to my thumb that's bothering me. I got it off. It has lost power, and I was driving it with my RCI 2970. It does around 80 watts PEP, and I need the amp to be high drive for that. Ooh, it's not going to be the... If you want to drive this with about 80 watts, this ain't going to be the best pills to use for that. I need the amp to be high drive for that. I have included the 454s, but I want to swap those in for 20. Okay. Thanks, bro. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, man. You want to drive this thing on about 80 watts? I think it's a good idea that we upgrade these to 2879Cs. You're going to have a better... I'm not saying that two standard 2879s can't handle 80 watts, but me personally, I like to do the 25 watt appeal approach for medium, good, safe drive. So two 2879s, 50 watts driving under. We're talking about safe. We ain't talking about what you can do. What you can do with them. I mean, you can drive 100 watts in the two pills, but I mean, how long are they going to last is the question. You know, how long? So, two 2879Cs, we're talking about 50 watts more there. No, we're talking about about 100 more. So, I think it'd be a lot safer to rock and roll with some C's, some 2879Cs. So we'll trade them towards some C's. All right, thanks, bro. Turn it over. If Toshibas are good, feel free to use those. So it looks like we got some Toshibas in here. Maybe you could give them away in another drawing, or if not, simply send them back with the amp. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Squirrel Chronicles is one of the recipients that has won something in one of my giveaways. And I haven't done a giveaway in a while, and I need to get back to doing that and doing more constant giveaways. My goal is to be able to get to where I can at least do a giveaway once a week. That's my goal. The reason why you haven't seen me doing a lot of giveaways, because I have took a lot of my profit and reinvested in other things to help me in the long run to get me my shop, my to get me my actual shop, man. So I'm out. Whew, there's a lot of stuff in here to get me out of the garage and get me in my shop. All right. So, okay, yeah, Fat Cat, Mr. Fat Cat. So this is a Fatboy. Cool. Alrighty. It feels good and heavy, so it's got a good heat sink in here to handle those seas. We're definitely going to put you some feet on the bottom of this too, man. Whenever I see this, I'm like, man, this needs some feet. I feel something rolling around in here. Alright, for now I got some shipping and stuff to do. But I'm going to take the top off real quick. Not too sure why this fan was sent with it. There wasn't nothing put into the note about that fan, but definitely won't be able to put that fan in here. These hold a 92 millimeter fan, but we'll see how good this fan blows. I've already talked to him. He basically let me, you know, I pretty much open and do what I need to do. So, you know, they used to give these the handles right here with the cases for many years. I mean, many years, 10, 12 years. And they just recently started selling them. And I never really used them. I never had many people actually need them, so I've got a whole box full of them that I just put in a box, you know. Because most people don't use, I mean, they send them like this, but there's no holes. You know, you're going to need to drill your holes. So, like, there's really no reason why this is even on here. There's no holes on here for mounting, but this is just a mounting bracket for the box. And you would almost think there would be a small mounting bracket for the smaller box too, like this. But nice little case for a 2-pill. I'm starting to like to push to put mine actually in the 4-pill cabinets from here on, just to have more space and stuff like that. Maybe just put all the smaller 1446, 2290, the smaller ones in this. So, all right, I'm gonna pop the top off real quick, just take a look inside, and then after that I gotta go get to work. Got some transistors transistors and 2 amps to ship out. So we'll get back. All right, I think I got the screws out. Let's see what that was jingling around in there. Ooh, ooh, we got a top. We got a top off a Toshiba. I guarantee you that's what was jingling around in here. Somebody got some dark hair. I'm gonna guess this fan's a pretty good blowing fan. Yep, that's what was jingling around in there. There it is right there. I hate that when that happens. So, y'all wonder why this happens, why those tops come off the transistors like this? It's basically from them getting very hot. It's just that simple. It can be from a couple of different things. It can be from the transistors not being mounted properly. So the heat sink, the heat off the heat sink isn't being dispersed from it onto the main heat sink. I'm talking about the actual heat sink on the bottom of the transistor, which then the whole transistor is soaking up that heat, which means there's more heat getting to. This is a ceramic material, which is made to be able to withstand heat. So then a lot of the heat gets to the top of the transistor. I mean, even if the transistor is mounted correctly and the heat is going to the heat sink properly, you'll still be able to feel heat on the top of this transistor. That's just normal. But the heat is going to the heat sink properly. But if it ain't mounted properly, so I can already tell there's some moisture. If you look at that screw, it is oxidized or rusted, one of the two. So we'll be removing all this and putting stainless steel hardware in. But this transistor could still just be fine, but the problem is they put these tops on these Toshibas in an environment where there is no oxygen. I don't know the exact details of it, but it's basically like mixed with nitrogen and something else. So when they put this top on this transistor, there is zero oxygen inside the actual transistor. So even if you did glue this back on, the characteristics of the transistors have changed a little bit. I've seen people try to do it. I've honestly have tried to do it myself in the past, like try to get all the glue out and glue it back on. It never really lasts real well. I mean, I'm sure there's a proper glue you could get out there that's a more for high temp style glue, and maybe it would hold up for you. But basically, me and a lot of other builders and techs that I've talked to, they agree. You know, once the top comes off, that peel's bad. I mean, I've got peels with tops off that still work good right here, and I got a little case I put them in just in case in the future if I ever did learn something new. But it's gone, man. I mean, it's gone. It never works out good. And ooh, look at this. I don't see that much. That's how I put my metals on stuff. Yeah, you don't see that much. The only time I ever see that is in a Texas Star or one of my builds. So that's pretty cool. I can see that, man, this box is a little dirty. Huh, that cap back there, is that cap that I'm selling right now. That's nice. That's a nice cap right there. We got two 103s right here, I see. It's pretty cool. There's no ground coming from this right here to the board. But this right here is just what you would call your regular Toshiba 2-pill build. And here's the only problem, Mr. Squirrel Chronicles. You said that you wanted this to be a high drive amp to where it can handle 80 watts, etc. That means this needs to come off. You got two choices with that though. You could put a switch over here somewhere to where when the switch is in a certain position that this right here comes out of circuit and makes the amp a high drive, like a Texas Star would do, something like that. And then when you put the switch back, this comes in circuit. Yeah, you could do something like that. You basically would interrupt that signal to where that would be going to the switch first. And then when you flip it, it's either carrying on or it's going to that. But what most people do, just keep things simple, is you just remove this variable and cap it off, okay? Because the only reason you need this variable if this box is being used as a driver, or if you don't have a lot of control from your radio, needing to turn your dead carrier down, then you have a little bit of control there. You have a little bit of control. But the problem is if you leave this in and you're driving 80 watts, 60 watts or something, this is going to be putting a lot of strain on this variable, especially if you start to turn this thing down. Even if you got it all the way up, you're still putting a lot of strain with it just flowing through this variable. So I will text you and talk to you about that if you want to leave this on there or not. Like if you're possibly wanting to run this as a high drive amp, but there's possibly times that you may want to use it as a driver and you want to do a switch to where you can bypass this at times. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, I'm gonna look at this a little bit more closely. So far, you know, it looks like just a pretty good build. I can tell somebody else added these 103s right here. You don't see that a whole lot unless there's some bias happening. But definitely needs a good clean. Since we're going to be, well, what my plan is to be dropping C's in here, we're going to be changing all the capacitors and everything in here, so there'll be a little bit of work. Probably be changing this input transformer. I need to check it and see if it's a 43. You know what's so crazy? Just looking at this build, I'm seeing a lot of things in here that I personally do. Look right here. See that little leg to make sure that this never touches? I do that with every build that I do. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So that's number 2. Number 1 was how this cap is soldered. That's the exact way that I solder mine. It's a habit I started a long time ago that I got from Texas Star. So that's pretty cool, man. All right, let me roll. See what kind of fan we got in here. 220 milliamps. Whew. Got a little spider nest in here. That looks like a spider nest, not a web. All right, we're getting in, get this thing rocking and rolling for you, man. If I had a lot of time on my hand, I'd go the extra mile, remove this board, paint this box for you, do some cool stuff, man. But I'm slammed with work. I just ain't got that time to really do all that unless you just absolutely wanted it, paid for it, and all that type of stuff. I still really ain't got the time. But what makes me say that is you saw me release a video of a painted box. You're like, is that my box? Will I be removing this right here? Of course not. Will I be removing this right here? This is actually paint. Of course not. Why would I remove somebody's label that's put some hard work in this in the past? Would I remove all of this if this was a complete new build and I painted this box and stuff? Well, of course, there's no choice then. Am I putting my label on this when I'm done? No. No. If the guy wanted a label, I would send it to him and he can do what he wishes. But me personally, no, I'm not into that. Now, you can get a box, man, that has 6 labels. Hey, 6 amp builders have worked on this amp. I always put mine right here. And I'm gonna clean this box for you up too, bud, just to get it. I like sending amps back to people all clean. Let me quit blabbing, y'all. I'm good and gone. I'll be back. I gotta correct myself on something before I forget. This right here is grounded. This is the ground pin right here. It's grounded. And I'm guessing this right here is the tip and it's coming over here. But this isn't, you can see that something was wired right here, which would be going to the hot bus. So I'm not too sure why somebody did this. It's almost like they've got it set up to basically give this an external power source, like from a vehicle's accessory wire or a vehicle's battery, to be able to give it the hot source to power this relay. And then with this being grounded like this, then you create a circuit that way to give this power to be, for the relay to be grounded, and the LED right here up front, which is perfectly fine if that's what somebody's wanting to do. But the way we always do it is we keep it internal. So you'd have a wire coming right on the bus, going to the ring on here, to the ring, to the tip. You'll have from the bus to the tip, and then you have a wire from the ring over to the coil of the relay, and then you have your ground. So all you're doing is just taking the ring and the tip and touching them together with a switch, which makes a circuit to give this relay a ground. Stand 4 allows the power to flow down. The wires coming up here to the front where the LED will come on, and even though this switch is turned off, the box can continue to work the way it's supposed to work. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to ask him about that. Is that something he needs done that way or what? I don't know, pal. I just don't know. But yeah, let me gander on this, see what we're gonna do. I know what I wish I could do, but we ain't got time for that. Hey, let me just document this before I continue anymore. I was removing the transistors, and I got some more bad news for you. I was kind of worried about this. A lot of times when there is a transistor that's had a top pop off of it, there's a good chance there's another one. So basically this box has gotten very hot, and because both of these tops have came off. So I've only removed this right here, the base, and I moved this collector, and when I moved it, I noticed it, that the top's about to come off. See, watch. See, the top's already split right there, see? Man, that sucks too. That sucks so much. I was hoping we was gonna have another transistor to add to the old collection. Man, I hate that. Well, all right, brother. I just wanted to document that. Let's see. It's been a couple of days since I worked on this last. Where is the top of the other one? It's over here in this pile somewhere. I'll have to find it. But I put it over here earlier today. I'd have to find it. Get on, get on. But anyway, here's the other one. Man, I wish we could just simply glue these back on and everything would be all good, but it doesn't work like that. I really do hate it. I had it sitting right here earlier today, but I think I set it over there in the midst of all this junk. So anyway, all right, I'm going to remove that and continue on with the job. And we got a little surprise for you too. You'll have to wait till I come back though to see what it is. Real quick before I continue any further. Yep, you see it, copper clad aluminum. I thought the power wire didn't look quite right soldered to the bus here. And see that charredness right there, that's the aluminum. A little bit of silver is catching to what little bit of copper is in there. Like I'll say in all my videos, there's nothing wrong with copper clad aluminum wire as long as you're not soldering it. If you're using it for compressing fittings, that's perfectly fine. It's always good to use a little bit thicker copper clad aluminum wire because it does not hold as much amperage as 100% oxygen free copper. Which is OFC. I knew this looked weird, and I knew that I got a hot iron and it wasn't getting it up real easy. I had to put two irons on this just to get it up without prying it up. So I'm glad I saw that. So this power wire is coming off. And I'm gonna clean off this solder because it seems like a little bit of this aluminum will get off into the solder. It's just nasty. Like it'll turn your solder. Some of this wire will turn your solder and iron black from the aluminum that's in it, and it's hard to get it off your iron. I've noticed that some copper clad aluminum wire solders better than others. Some doesn't solder at all. It's just they got a different mixture of the two elements in there. Just wanted to point that out. So this is coming off for sure. And we'll put you some oxygen free in there. All right, man. I got something to show you real quick. Now I noticed the relay looked kind of weird being this color. I don't really know if I've ever seen a relay like this, a sealed relay this color. And I noticed if I took it and see that and scratched it just a little bit, it'd come off. And when I was doing that, I noticed something. These are cracks. That's a crack. That's a crack. That's a crack. It's cracked. That is the weirdest. That is just so weird, man. I have no idea why it's cracked, but it's cracked. Sorry. Fingers over the... I mean, you can feel it dip. It's a crack. See, look. It's in the middle of the crack, and I'm able to move it up and down. And see, if I'm not in a crack, I can't move it up and down. See? That is so weird, man. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't feel right finishing this amplifier and leaving this relay in there. I really just don't. I'm just gonna be honest with you, I don't. So I have made a decision to really just go to the next level. What do I mean by the next level? Well, you'll see when I come back. Be right back. That's what I mean by the next level. That's what I mean by the next level, Mr. Squirrel Chronicles. Surprise. But you know me, you know the old GK, man, always taking things even further to deeper levels. And by the way, yes, this is the same exact case you were just looking at. Well, I look at it, why go to all this trouble if you ain't gonna do it for the inside too? Yes, sir. I bet he's thinking right about now, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Yep, Mr. Squirrel Chronicles had absolutely no idea that I would be doing this. This is what you call one of them good old-fashioned surprises. I actually made that transformer myself. Here's all the old parts. I was even respectful enough to contact Mr. Fat Cat himself, because I know this was a Fat Cat build done just for you, Mr. Squirrel Chronicles. So I wanted to keep everything respectful. And I knew even though I'd be painting the box for you, because you know the box was scuffed up pretty bad and everything, Mr. Fat Cat was very, very nice enough to shoot me down some decals so we can keep this thing still a Fat Cat. It's just been gatekeeper rebuilt, or you can say modified, whatever you want to say. And we got you some feet. Got you some feet. Now, of course, this ain't the professional candy painted builds that would be done by my buddy Marty. You know, this is just a paint job done in house here, and I'm definitely no painter by trade, no, by no means. All I can do is my best job. I'm still looking for a better way to do clear, man, or a better way to do painting that at least makes it to where you can sit there and scratch the paint and the paint won't come off, that you could do in-house with a spray can. That'd be really cool. So we basically rebuilt this 2-pill for you and dropped a fresh set of 2879C 24 DO8s. Then I went ahead and fine-tuned this thing for you on the input. We left the 150 on the back. You got yourself a new relay. Got you an 8-amp relay now. We dropped your electrolytics back in. Now it's unified. It's all, you know, pretty close. Pretty close to uniform there. Got you some 104s and 103s on the hot bus for filtering. Got you a new coax. Got you a new transformer, like I said, that I made myself. Use the same feedback circuits. Put new 10 ohms in. Use the same choke right here. Had to use 2 new 120s because the old 120s were, one was 119, one was 123, so that was a little out of spec. And keep in mind, everybody, I do sell these right here, 120 picofarad caps matched to the picofarad for 80 cents a piece. If you buy bulk, we can go down in price. Wow. If anybody has any idea how this happened, put it in the comment section, because I just do not know. Like I said, these are cracks. These are cracks right here. And you can feel the difference in depth to these are the actual cracks. It is so weird. First off, how does this film get on here? Next off, why does it crack? Really weird stuff. I definitely didn't want to leave that in there. The only reason we put a new transformer in is because this right here is 43 core. I like to rock with 61. And yep, that sucks, but both of the Toshibas, they gotten way too hot. So we installed the fan, got you a nice little grill cover there, so you can always keep this looking good. Catch any particulates coming down here. Use the same output transformer. We just dropped the wraps on there. There was 3 wraps in there before, and we dropped it down. This ain't gonna do as much power for you with low watts, but now it's a 2879C, so it can take some drive, so keep that in mind. Another thing we went ahead and did is replaced your LED with a blue LED, just to kind of match the box. We use the same switch. Got you some black mounting screws, and we cleaned up the inside of the box. We cleaned the heat sink for you. Completely dismembered, you know, took the heat sink away from the board, of course. We cleaned the heat sink real good, flattened, did a good polish for the transistors going to be mounted. We used new transistor screws. So this thing's ready to rock and roll, brother. Ready to rock and roll. There's a little spot on here I'm going to have to go touch up paint-wise right here. I bumped the top up against this right here while I was putting the fan on. I'll touch that up before it heads out. So let's get this thing hooked up and show you what it's doing. The input tune turned out absolutely miraculous. Miraculous, man. I actually had the input tune literally perfect. But when I went ahead and mic'd in this, it came up just a tad bit. And yeah, I could sit here all day and play with different caps to get that little bitty thing just so I can show you a meter not moving. But it's perfect, man. It is absolutely great. Absolutely great. Alright, let me go get my coax. Alright. Pass through. Just passing through the box. Oh dear. Oh dear. Just a tad bit of movement. Alright, this is 16 watts PEP. 16 watts PEP. 3 watts RMS, or average, 3 watts average. So about 16 watts PEP gives us this 250 watt slug. Keep in mind this is a high drive box. So right there about 225, 230. RMS, average, right there about 60, right? Hold on. Yeah, about 60. About 60 average. Alright. If this thing, I did a 2-pill C box like this not long ago, biased. Of course, it was doing a little bit more power because of the bias and with the lower drive. So let's give this thing some drive and see what she's going to do. Yeah, before I forgot, I completely forgot to show the input. Here's your input, 5 watt slug, 50 watt scale. Where the 10 is 50 watts cut. 5 watt slug, 50 watt scale. Where the 50 is 5 watts. Where the 10 is 1, half of that is a half. Barely to the second notch. This thing is tuned. Now, let's give it some drive. Alright. I've got the D-Rail Cobra 29. Single final radio, no dual finals, just one single final radio. Single final radio. So this is going to hit it with about 40 peak. 40, a little bit over 40 peak. 500 watt slug. Dog, boy. This thing's stroking, son. That picker is stroking. 1,000 watt slug. This thing's already hitting right there at 200 bird, just hitting it with a goddamn single final radio, man. This sucker is stroking. What's this thing talking if I just want to get out there and go? Dog! Whoa, this thing is stroking, son. Son, this thing is stroking. I thought that thing was at least going to be popping up around maybe 450. Talking, letting the goddamn, man, let me see that again, man. Let this mop flop. Hey, let me let this mop flop. Let me let, dang. Whoa, this thing is stroking, baby. Whoa, man, this is stroking, son. Man, let me go calm down. Man, this cow picker right here. This cow picker right here is stroking. Talking. This thing's still recording. Sorry about y'all there. I'm just out of my mind right now. It just blows my mind. This thing is stroking. Alright, I apologize about that. Sometimes I get a little excited during these videos. I've been known to get a little overly excited. So I do apologize about that. This thing's just running good, man. I wasn't even driving it nowhere near the max I could be driving that bad boy either. I'm hitting it with a single final radio, man. This thing's working well. So I got you new ins and outs. We got you some good thick long cable on here now. So this thing looks good, bud. Just do your best not to scuff that, box up against anything. It ain't automobile paint like my candy painted boxes. But she's good to go, ready to rock and roll, brother. Yes, sir. Glad to be able to get this done for you. Mr. Squirrel Chronicles, appreciate your patience too on this end, brother. So we'll get these 454s you sent in, or we'll get these either sent back to you or just traded in towards the total bill for the job. And you didn't ask me to do all this stuff. It was a surprise. So it ain't like I'm going to charge you for all the extra labor I did on my own. It's just a special situation, Y'all, a lot of y'all may not know, but Squirrel Chronicles wasn't always following the old GK, in the earlier days. And as time went on, and he started following the old GK, and I appreciate every minute of it. He's been following the channel quite a few years now, and always giving kind words and advice to people whenever he's able to, and he supports what I'm doing out here, and I highly appreciate it. Highly appreciate it. So here's your modified Fatboy 2 pill, kind of modified into what I call a GK. I guess I'd call that a GK 250 or 300. I ain't really made up my mind what I'm going to call the 2879C2 pills. But I got to go, man. It's time for bed. And I done yelled myself to where my voice is sounding weird. I done got a little bit too excited out here. It does happen at times. God bless everybody. Old gatekeeper out here around the beautiful backwoods of North GA, baby. Out here where the cows and horses roam. We good and gone. Bye-bye, 73. God bless.